people look at the ocean and they say it's too big to fail. And what we don't realize is, yes, most of the planet is covered by ocean. It really is the blue planet. That said, it has so many different stressors, and a lot of it is population driven.
Things that are threatening those environments today are the same things that threatened them 35, 40, 50 years ago. And that is individual people screwing up the areas where they live.
My name is Joshua Stewart. I'm a PhD student here at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, and I'm also an associate director of the Manta Trust, which is an international nonprofit that works on manta and mobula research and conservation. The issue, I guess, with ocean conservation, and I think really just conservation more broadly, is that there are so many impacts, so many human-derived impacts. I don't know that there's any one specific impact that is the greatest threat to ocean ecosystems or biodiversity. Climate change obviously is sort of the broadest impact and is affecting all sorts of different things, from where animals can live, how well they can survive, whether or not they can breathe, if corals can create calcified structures and continue to build reefs and things like that. So as we change the coastal environment, they're less resilient to things like runoff of chemicals and pollutants. If we destroy mangrove ecosystems and that kind of thing, the more humans we cram onto the coast, the more waste there is, which results in things like plastic pollution, discharge of sewage and nitrates and fertilizers, basically, that help degrade ocean ecosystems. And then obviously climate change is very much human driven.
It has two issues. You have sort of first world and then you have third world coming together. And so in first world, a lot of these issues are driven by our appetite. And we've gotten spoiled because we have the technology to actually go anywhere on this planet. We're not eating fish, let's say, in season. Companies like Red Lobster, where every day, any day, 24/7, you can go and have lobster and shrimp, and that's not sustainable.
What we choose to eat, the industrial meat production industry drives or creates more carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases than any other industry. It's all these sorts of choices that we're making, when we buy a cheeseburger or we hop in a plane and fly to the other side of the world. All of those are contributing to climate change, which is ultimately one of the bigger and broader reaching impacts that we're having on ocean ecosystems and all ecosystems on the planet.
What would it look like if we started over in food?
Talking about in terms of sustainability, the idea is what is better. So it's not just about being affordable and delicious, but it's also a little bit better for the planet. So we're sourcing the world, looking for different ingredients that are a little bit more sustainable. That means for us using less water, less land, and ultimately making it more affordable for our customers.
And there's about 400,000 plant species out there. And right now we've explored about 10% for food. And we've gotten so addicted to soy and corn that we really forgot about everything else.
So a lot of people don't understand what goes on in our ocean because they can't see it. And that leads to not understanding the threats that the oceans are facing, because if you can't see something, you don't really understand it. People don't see it because they see a lot of fish in their markets. They're like, oh, we don't have a problem of overfishing and limited resources, but we do. There's two threats. There's always a natural threat and the human threat. The natural threats, we can't really do anything about it, there's always going to be threats like hurricanes or tsunamis or predators for a lot of the different animals. It's us making the pollution. It's us making the overfishing. It's us killing animals that are on top of the food chain that are destroying the balance of our ocean ecosystem. So at the end of the day, it's us the responsible for ones to making sure our oceans are healthy and thriving.
Individual people screwing up the areas where they live. The things that challenge those environments today are the local people that try to eat everything, the local people that pollute it with their runoff, with their sewage, with all their issues, with their construction habits, with their boating habits. All of these things are what are causing the problems around the world, and those are real and present problems. It has to be the locals who want it and see some reason, some economic reason why it's in their interest to save the environment.
You know, when we hear about all of the impacts that we're facing and the sort of potential nightmare scenarios in the future, people sort of tend to, you know, get blinders and tunnel vision, and they don't want to do anything about it. It's really depressing, and well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's fine now. And it's a hard thing to make an impact, because it's sort of the collective actions of the entire human population that are driving these things.
I would say get yourself educated.
Talk to your representatives. Make sure that your policymakers know that coastal issues are very important to you.
Meat production, factory farming, industrial farming, specifically of livestock, contributes more to greenhouse gases than any other activity on the planet. That's something that we have a lot of direct control over, right? What am I going to put in my body? What am I going to eat today? And so that's where I actually think that we have the most power to make decisions that are going to impact.
Even if you don't have the privilege, right, and the ability to dig into these issues, you do it because it's the most delicious thing and it's the most affordable thing.
When we look back 100 years from now, our food system today is going to seem silly. It's going to seem so antiquated.
Everybody cares about something, so get interested in it, learn what you can about it, don't take things for granted.
You know, get educated, find people that are experts in the field, and then whether you sign a petition or make a better choice at the grocery store, you can make a difference.